everybody. Welcome to episode 265 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. It seems that some SpaceX employees who were on a recreational fishing trip off the Exmouth coast in Western Australia were treated to a rare sighting of an enormous flying whale shark. In a subsequent X post, SpaceX CEO Elon Musk committed to bringing this shark ashore, but had to concede that he'll need a bigger boat. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and once again, welcome to the program. As I did say in the before we started recording, there's obviously been a whole lot more news going on around many issues, but I've just been super slammed today, so that's as good as I could get. Alrighty, as is customary, if there is anyone who is new and is comfortable in doing so, please unmute and say hello.
I feel like I'm new, Harold, but I have been here before once or twice.
Oh, welcome to the Prodigal Pete. I'll ask you a little bit later on in the show where the bloody hell you've been. But I think I'm glad that you've come back. Probably. Although I'm going to give you a beating for all the awesome things you did in the States. All right, just in case anyone who is genuinely new.
I'm Marian Phillips. I'm new.
Oh, welcome, Marian. Please tell us about your Tesla.
Tesla Model Y.
Fantastic. Congratulations. How long have you had it?
Just now I bought it, so 2026.
Perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do is just very quickly go to something that Tokwa's been working on over the last few days, which is quite important for the WAV network, and then we'll go to questions. And following the very sage and important feedback I got from the last show, actually, before I say that, sincere apologies, didn't have a recorded show last week. I actually had an important charity event that I had to attend that I'd actually forgotten was last Wednesday. I thought it was the week after, so I neglected to warn everyone at our last recording that was happening. So apologies for that. But also, I want to make sure that anyone who's on this program always has an opportunity to ask questions, especially people who have newly gotten cars, and it's really important. Please don't think that any question you might have is dumb because it's simple or something like that. We all knew nothing about Teslas, before we bought the cars or before we got them and whatever. And in fact, even some of us long-term owners still learn new things all the time, actually. So just want to put that in place. You can already tell we're a super casual sort of setup. Please feel free to politely interrupt. If some of us are rambling on about boring stuff, just say, hey, I've got a question or whatever. If you feel more inclined, please feel free to put your hand up like you do a virtual hand in Zoom, or also put any questions in the chat. I generally don't read the chats, but if someone will, maybe James or someone else can say, hey, there's a question. Now, just before we do that, because I don't want to bury the lead, and it is going to be useful, we hope. Just going to draw your attention to a handy dandy dashboard that Tokwa has created. And we're just doing a soft release because this is extremely beta. The project only started on Sunday afternoon. but thanks to Claude Code, it's doing all right at the moment. For anyone who's listening or watching, the URL is WAEVN, that's short for WAEV Network, .tokwa.cloud. Now, what you'll see is all sorts of stuff. Feel free to... Oh, Steve just raised his hand. Hang on a sec. Let me just go back to Steve. So, Steve.
We're talking about casual meetups, etc. Chance to ask questions as you were doing in the intro. And before people go off and do something else, a chance to mention our casual meetup on Sunday.
Which is?
At the Paul Kennedy Tavern at midday, Sunday the 2nd of August.
Very good. All right. Right, so let's just quickly go back to this dashboard. Feel free, anyone, to jump on your own computers, either now or later or whatever. Initially, it'll be all a bit overwhelming. There's a few simple things that, sorry, I just got to get something out of the way, will make things a bit easier to understand. If you go to a map view, you can see a handy dandy map of the WAEV network. If you only wanted to look at Horizon Power sites, you can filter that, or Synergy, or everything. If you hover over any location, it'll tell you what it is, and then you can click through. So for example, let's have a look at Kaiguna Roadhouse, view details. It basically says it's reduced or degraded. The actual charger is a 50 kilowatt Tritium. At the moment, Horizon Power have said they've restricted it to 30 kilowatts because of power upgrade works going on, which is expected to be completed by the end of July. That's in a couple of days. However, the system has determined that it's under delivering. The last session, it peaked at 3 kilowatts versus 50 kilowatts. You can actually see that because these are live recorded sessions that our system has logged. So for 50 minutes, someone sat at this DC charger getting 3 kilowatts. In all that time, they actually got 2.5 kilowatt hours, took 50 minutes. The fact that this station is working slowly, then other people have worked out that you're better off going on the AC because you're getting 11 or 12 kilowatts. Sorry, 11 kilowatts rather than the 3 kilowatts. And there's quite a few sessions. When you look at the top of this page, it says there's an estimated 5.8 hours wasted with people having to sit on the AC or just persisting and sitting on the DC just to get charged. So that's just an example of some of the things this thing does. Obviously, you know, there is also an about page, which is very comprehensive. It goes through what this does, what its purpose is, how it's all done. If you're interested in seeing who's actively charging, if you click on the 6 charging now, it brings those sites. Oh, Balladonia. What? Balladonia? How's it doing that? So Balladonia's just livened up because it's been dead for days. And now someone's getting 50 kilowatts probably for, well, they've got it for 7 minutes. I bet before the end of the show, this thing would have died again. But anyway, that's interesting. So you can get it, if you click on this charging now, it will put all of those sites in the WAV network that are currently actively charging at the top of the list. And then so you can see Kings Park's quite busy, etc. Anyway, there's a whole lot of other features. It actually analyzes the way power has been delivered. It rates charger locations, not on whether ChargeFox says they are online and a nozzle is available, but actually rates it on, has this location proven it can deliver meaningful power? So for example, Kaiguna at 3 kilowatts is not meaningful power. You know, that's actually counterproductive because you can get 3.3 kilowatts on a 15 amp single phase outlet at the caravan park. So the purpose of this dashboard is to allow the entire community to have a instant visibility at any moment of what not only the WAV network is doing right now, but what it has done in the past, and it rates it as usefulness. There's a few other buttons you can explore. There's a routes button. Actually, we'll just quickly have a look at the route button. So you can see you've got, sorry, I've just got Zoom blocking some of my view. There we go, routes. So, oh, that's actually improved. So the Nullarbor route, Norseman was okay, Beladonia was dead, Kaiguna is red, Majura Pass and Mundrabilla. Another little handy dandy thing we've implemented is trying to estimate how many cars cross the Nullarbor and in which direction. And at the moment, in the last 3 days, it's basically said that it's confirmed that 1 has gone eastbound, 2 are westbound, and then there are a few other 7 possible crossings unconfirmed. And you can even drill into that and it'll explain it. So, like I said, there's lots of handy dandy things this thing does. It still is beta. There's kind of like a march of nines of little bugs and snippets that we're trying to improve, but I just sort of get that out there early.
Harold, can I just say quickly, the reason why I'm wearing a hat is not to celebrate the Starship 13th launch, even though that's got something to do with it, but it was just so I could raise it and take it off to you for doing that whole interface. It is absolutely fantastic. It brings transparency to the whole network, brings that transparency in real time. And as you said, you can go back as well. And it's exactly what we need, and just shows how unreliable the Northwest Interconnected System, the Horizon Power charges are, and how much more work still needs to be done. But yeah, hat off to you. Well done. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I agree too. You did a great job, Harold. And you're muted, mate. I've got the floor.
Agree too.
Wow, I didn't even realize I was muted. That was really strange.
We salute you.
Yeah, thanks. Look, to be honest, I mostly did it with, well, I did it on Claude Code, but I must admit it wasn't just vibe coding. There is a lot of technical stuff, and thankfully, and by the way, for anyone who's got questions, we're going to get to you really, really quickly. Just a little technical note. I'm kind of thankful of all the laps I've done and all the crappy tritiums I've come across. When you look at this dashboard, it actually has some suggested diagnoses of what's going on, and most of those have come about because of my experiences on the Queensland Electric so-called superhighway, with tritiums doing interesting things like needing water splashed on their radiators to get this thing working and all the other stuff. So anyway, it's a beginning, and I hope you can't fix what you can't measure, or you can't fix problems you can't measure or can't see. And actually what this dashboard does is it actually exposes a lot of things that Horizon Power would have had no chance of noticing, because I know as a customer, as a wholesale customer of ChargeFox, all you get is how many transactions there are, how many kilowatt hours were delivered, and how much money you made. You don't get any measures of how the charging session went. Was it super slow? Was it interrupted? Or any of that sort of information. So in fairness to the people managing the WAV network, who by necessity aren't necessarily technical, this gives them the tools. And in one sense, as I explained to someone at Horizon Power, it kind of sets your homework for you automatically and then checks your homework, because when things get fixed, we can see it. When things don't get fixed, we can see that. And when, the main thing is, this is a tiny incremental little element of helping the network get better, and that's what we all want. Okay, so now let's get to some questions. We'll talk about some Tesla stuff and whatever, but I really want to focus in on anyone's questions, especially anyone who's new. And I don't care how simple the question is, it's really important to ask and for it to be answered. So Will someone tick?
You have any questions?
No.
Yes, Marianne. Yeah, definitely, Marianne. Any questions at all? No matter
No, I was
how.
asking my husband if he has any questions. He
Yeah,
doesn't seem to
cool.
be.
That's okay. And look, if you think of anything later on,
Yeah.
just say, "Hey, I've got a question." And it doesn't matter how simple it is. It can be super simple. Um, you know, how do I use autopilot? Blah blah blah. Whatever. How do I charge my car? What adapters do I need to buy? Do I need a spare tire? All those sort of questions.
Yeah, maybe I'll just put one question through.
Yep.
My garage, I put two stones so that the car doesn't go any further, and I've got two
Yes.
bikes in front of me.
Yes.
Sometimes I can see the bikes, sometimes I can't. So I don't know what is happening there.
Sorry, when you say you can see them or can't see them, are you driving backwards or forwards?
No, I always drive forwards.
And when you say you can't see the bikes, what do you mean?
Normally I can see and I can see stop where I have to stop.
Yep.
But sometimes it's just a blur in front of me and I don't know why. 2 days ago it worked all right, but now it doesn't work.
When you say
We're
blur, you
talking
mean the
about the
screen,
front camera?
the front camera, or do you mean just
Yeah,
when you,
I can't see the bikes at all. It's
with,
just a blur.
yep, with the front camera?
Yeah,
Okay, so all you need to do is just get like a tissue and a little bit of Windex or soapy water, and you can just clean that front camera because it can pick up. I mean, it hasn't rained lately, but it can
no.
pick up dirt and muck on the front. Or you could actually have you could have run into a locust or a grasshopper or a butterfly or something, and it could have smeared itself on that camera.
Oh, okay.
So give that a go.
Okay.
Lots of people have different tricks. So you mentioned stones. You can
Yeah.
I've seen people do things like they'll dangle a tennis ball from the ceiling
Okay.
in the garage, so that
Yeah.
when the tennis ball touches the windscreen,
Yeah.
then that gives you a cue to stop. That's
Yeah.
quite effective. People have put little lumps of wood rather than just a little stone, which you might roll over.
Yeah.
You can put like a little stopper. There's lots of tricks.
Yeah.
You can also use the camera. So I don't know if you've got paving. Have you got brick paving in your driveway or anything like that?
No.
Okay. So what you can do is you could carefully park your car in the position you want it to be.
Yeah.
And then you could do things like get a bit of masking tape or some sort of tape. You'll need two people to make it easier. Have one in the car
Yeah.
and then one outside. And then you get some of the tape, put it near the ground, and you just
Yeah.
tell them to move backwards or forwards to have the tape line up to the edge of the screen or something like that, of the image.
Oh, okay.
So that
Yeah.
when you see the tape line up to the bottom of the screen, you
Yeah.
can then stop. If you've got brick paving, of course, and I've actually got different color paving,
Yeah.
I just use that as a bit of a rough guide. It doesn't have to be precise. It depends how much room you've got clearance in the back of your car to the garage
Yeah.
door.
That's important too, isn't it? Because so that's the
You don't want the
problem.
garage door to come on your boot. That's right.
No.
So there's lots of tricks. Like I said, one of the ones I've seen a lot of people do is use a tennis ball or a ping pong
Yeah.
ball, and they just
That
dangle
seems
it.
like the best at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty effective.
Yeah.
Especially if you park that Tesla in the same side of the garage
Yeah.
all the time, so then it
Yeah.
will always be consistent because different cars have different lengths, etc.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Marion, just quickly, you can also buy from Bunnings and
Yeah.
auto shops those rubber wheel stoppers.
Okay.
They're usually about a foot wide. And you
Okay.
can buy a couple of those and fix them to the ground. So,
Okay.
and they even work even when you don't fix them. They can move a little bit, but yeah, it's better to fix them. But yeah, that's another option too.
Okay. What is it called again?
So I think they're just called wheel stoppers or something
Okay.
like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So yeah, so I think they're in the same section as witches' hats and other sort of road equipment. Yeah,
Okay. Thank you. Thank
no
you.
worries. Pleasure.
No worries. I'm sorry. I just put rubber stoopers, not rubber stoppers.
There's a
We'll
link
bring
in
that
the
up in
chat.
cool. I'm just trying to let Bunnings do it. Oh, here we go. Okay, so handy dandy Bunnings. You can just go to Bunnings website and just put wheel stoppers, and you've got
Okay.
a whole selection.
Okay.
at various prices and whatever. So yeah, you can do. There's all sorts of little options. I mean, that's a little bit more brutalist. I mean,
Yeah.
that will guarantee you won't go
Okay.
past, and that's totally cool too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But if you want something a bit more gentle, then
Yeah.
certainly a tennis ball or something like that dangling
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
ceiling would work really well.
Okay. Thank you, Harold and Pete.
No worries. And like I said, if you or your husband think of any other questions,
Yeah.
please do ask. 'Cause
Okay.
that's really that's what we're here for. That's what this program's called. Ask us anything.
Yeah. Thank you.
Marion?
He has a question, I think.
Yes,
Yeah,
perfect.
so I have been trying to join your site as well through my app, but for some reason or other, I got rejected.
Oh, okay.
Are
Don't
you
know.
talking
Are you-
about Facebook?
Are you in WA?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think the reason might have, I don't know what the reason was, but my wife sent an invitation and then I was trying to accept it. And then it said it has been automatically rejected.
Okay. I know that if people invite someone else, I don't know if you click on that invitation or something, the website will, Facebook will ask you a few questions. It'll
Yeah.
ask you, from memory, where do you live?
Yeah.
Now, we don't want to know
Exactly.
what street you live in. You just say Perth or Western Australia. I think
I
it'll
tried
ask.
to answer those two questions, but
Yep.
it didn't allow me to do that.
Okay.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll just delete all that and apply again. Don't worry.
Yeah, try again. Yep, try again. It'll also ask you, have you looked at the website? You can say no, yes, whatever, can't be bothered, whatever. And then the
Yeah.
other reason was
Because
think
I
the-
was
the
also
third
keen
question.
to join in because we are fascinated with the investment. So
Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely.
So, and then the
Um,
last question that Facebook asks is, why do you want to join? And you just say, I own a Tesla or whatever. I'm interested in
Yeah.
buying a Tesla or something like that. And then,
No,
and then
it's
one of,
we already have it parked. Yeah. Thanks.
yep, cool.
No
if you
problem.
can,
Thanks a lot.
if you can let us know if you're able to try joining again over the next hour or so while you're still on the show, and if you let us know, then one of us can pop in and approve you,
That
so
would
that
be fantastic. Yeah.
you're
I'll
approved.
delete whatever is there and then, yeah. Thank you very
Yep.
much.
Perfect. No worries. But
Hey,
once again, if you got any other questions, do
Yeah,
please feel free to ask away. Russell.
When you go back to the Baladonia thing, it's up to 88%, the charger, the state of charge. You're like a white Baladonia charge watch. If you want to.
Okay,
Well,
so
you kept everyone in suspense before at the start of the show, didn't you?
okay, so this is probably a BYD Shark because the system has estimated a 29 kilowatt hour battery. So because even though it's getting 50 kilowatts in 20 minutes, it's gone from 48% to 88% and it's tapering. And now it's getting 18. This is actually a BYD Shark. So there you go. And what the system is clever enough to do is, well, it mainly goes on the peak power. So Baladonia has succeeded. You can see here, we first started getting data at about 8 o'clock on the 26th of the 7th, and it's been down all the way until it popped back up on at 19 past 7 tonight. And then at, actually, I wonder if whoever is charging was the person that actually turned this thing back on. That's also a possibility. But they're using a hybrid. It's probably a service tech, and they're using something like a BYD Shark because it's only got a 29 kilowatt hour battery estimated. So yeah, thanks, Russell. That's the Baladonia Charge Watch report, which will finish shortly.
Where do you want to join?
Alrighty. So obviously, well, actually, just before we go into a bit of discussion, anyone else got any questions? Simple questions first up. I know Terry does because he's trying to unmute. There we go. So Terry, what dodgy thing are you trying to install on your car now?
Don't be like that. It's only enhancements.
Sorry, enhancements, not dodgy stuff. What useful enhancements would you like to install in your car today?
I'm putting sexy in next week, so it's all good. Quick question. I heard a rumor today that someone in Perth is trialing 14.2.5.
Yeah.
You mean 14.3.5?
Oh,
Yeah,
14.2.5. Yeah.
I took it for a spin today. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
But
You bastard.
there's a few others as well.
Oh,
And I got
okay. How'd you get that?
Over the air.
Oh, so like that. Okay.
Terry, to be honest, Pete and I and a few other, well, I'm not an influencer, but a few other influencers are on the early access program, and I presume that's what's happening. I don't know, but one glimmer of good news is, and I've been so busy with this dashboard thing, been very frustrating and meeting people and stuff. I think it's a lot better already. I can already see things it doesn't do, which the other one used to do. So it's a lot better. I don't know, Pete, if you've had any time to really drive it around much. Probably not.
I've driven around maybe almost 2 hours with it so far. So about what was it? Yeah, maybe about 150 kilometers or so. And yeah, it hasn't put a foot wrong. It did make, actually, that's not true. It made one mistake. So I was parked parallel on a road with a traffic island in front of me, the curb. And so I just parked. So that's the curb there. And I just parked with my nose up to it. And then I pressed starts self-driving again. And instead of it going around, it looked like it was going to go straight over it. So I didn't give it too long a leash. I just pressed the brake, tried it again, and second time it went around. So, but that's really the only one thing that is done wrong in the 150 kilometers. So, and I tried it at sunset, just after sunset, at pitch black as well. It's did a few parking maneuvers. Yeah, it's been great. Freeway, suburban streets, really tight car parks with lots of traffic around, and it was amazing. Yeah, something that version 13 would have never been able to do, and 14.3.3 would have struggled with. So yeah, definitely an improvement. I didn't notice one of the things I was expecting from some of the mentions on X was that under the hurry speed profile, it used to tailgate a little bit too close, used to get a little bit too close to the cars in front. So I was on the freeway and it was still relatively close. So whether it was a little bit further back, if it was, it would have only been marginal. So I don't think that has improved all that much.
Yeah, Gareth dropped to, you've probably seen it, Pete, Harold and other ex-followers. Gareth dropped a quickie last night. You wouldn't then, Harold, yeah. So you might have Pete. So, Gareth Hall, he's one of our members. So he dropped a quickie from somewhere going to the supercharger in Aussie Park. He couldn't get out the car park, which was its only mistake. He kept trying to go out the one-way thing. And then from there, I don't know, somewhere in the northern suburbs, about 20 minutes down to Aussie Park along the freeway, didn't make an error. His main comment was that he's a bit of a rev head, not that we rev in ours, although technically I guess we do. He liked the hurry mode previously, but us general drivers wouldn't have done. But he says it's more calm and is probably more mainstream now in hurry mode.
He would have loved Mad Max. That was good fun in the US.
He said he's waiting for the Mad Max, yes.
Pete,
all right.
Does it still speed?
Yes, it does. Goes about 105 on hurry on the freeway, goes 102 in standard and 100 in chill, just like the previous version.
Of course.
I can't get my chill to go 100. It always goes like 95 or 96 or something. Harold, haven't you committed to do a lap for every dot release that you receive? I thought that was the deal.
Well, no, I haven't. I mean, I did for the last two dot releases. That was 14 point whatever in September, and sorry, 13 point whatever in September, and 14.3.3 in June, July. No, but I will be driving up the Great Northern Highway, hopefully not this weekend, but the weekend after, which that's actually a bit of news too. In a first, Illumina have installed and commissioned and is live on ChargeFox. I hope it's still up on ChargeFox at Capricorn Roadhouse. So that in itself is an achievement, and they should be applauded for. Oh, it's actually currently offline. Anywho,
Hey,
and I know they will be commissioning some further units. Hopefully, the remaining 3 or 4 units at Paynes Fine, Kew, and Carralundi. So that'll be great for going up the Great Northern Highway and into Karajini National Park. So that's something that's happening over the next, hopefully the next week or so, week and a half.
on that first lap you did, Harold, what was the majority profile you were in?
Oh, no, first lap in September was version 13. So,
No, the one you just did in your YL.
oh, it was mixed.
Okay.
But for those that were used to FSD version 14.3.3, the dynamic range of speed adjustment is very narrow. Basically, in 100 zone, it'll do up to 105 in hurry, 102, like Pete said, in standard, roughly 100 in chill, and I don't know, 95 in sloth, something like that. And even in the Northern Territory, when the speed limit, posted limit, and detected limit was 130, in my case, thankfully, the fastest it would go automatically was about 105, roughly, which is good because I had to make it between Three Ways and Camberwell, and that's 450 Ks. If it insisted on doing 130 Ks an hour or even 10 kilometers an hour less than that, I wouldn't have been able to do it on FSD because I wouldn't have had the battery reserve to make it. Something I don't think any of us know at the moment, but some of us may find out in the next couple of days, is what it actually does on a bona fide 110 remote. When I say remote, a road that's classed as outer, not like if you go the Forest Highway in WA, it's a divided road and it's got 2 lanes each way. The car sort of seems to treat that differently. But the acid test will be, what does it do in a proper remote 110 zone? Does it do 110? Because version 14.3.3 never did. Never really did. And that's frustrating because you get a sore right toe trying to pulse width modulate the accelerator. The other thing too is, and I've said this before and we've said it before, in Australia we don't tolerate speeding. And at the moment, the car is fairly nonchalant about speeding or exceeding the speed limit. In version 13, those that had it, a great feature was you could always set a mandated maximum speed that the car would basically always abide by. In version 14, that's now gone, and it's up to the neural network to work out with your guidance as far as hurry, standard, chill, sloth driving modes. That's the only speed control you have, but it's really just a mood, or I don't know what you call it. It's it's just a mode setting. It's not an actual explicit speed setting. And I think that's something Tesla just, in all honesty, for places that aren't America, because in America, Pete, you'll attest to this, the speed limit is simply taken as an absolute minimum target, and the upper limit is slightly slower than the fastest person who the cop will pull over, and all the other fish will be okay. So in Australia and Europe and many other places, it's just not acceptable. So hopefully Tesla, as they launch each dot point, will improve that. Alrighty. Any other simple questions that want to get out of the way, or not out of the way, but address before we start rambling on about stuff?
I've got
Can I
one then.
mention?
Oh,
You
sorry,
go,
there
Norm.
were, go, Norm.
Yeah, I was wondering why, if there's no option of setting the speed offset, why have Tesla left those buttons in the system? It
For
doesn't work.
autopilot, because you can still engage autopilot if you disengage.
Okay.
Sorry, if you disable FSD,
Yeah.
you can still revert to autopilot, and that will still work effectively.
You
Okay.
mean auto steer beta, as it's
Of
yeah
yeah,
Technically,
called yeah.
yeah,
and the other
whatever.
one,
Yes.
the other point I was going to mention, my car always says that I'm parked in the next door neighbor's garage, which is not. And I've tried to resolve that. You gave us some suggestions, but so far it hasn't worked. But with version 14.3.3, it'll drive into my
I've
driveway.
got some strawberries there for Mason and Tom.
Sorry, Terry, I got to mute you, mate, because we don't need to hear about the strawberries. Sorry, say that again, Norm. So
my car always indicates that it's parked at a neighbor's house. But
do you mean if you look at your app, or you look at the screen in the car?
They both say the same thing.
Yep.
But with 14.3.3, it drives directly into my driveway, which is quite crazy.
Yeah, right. Okay. Cool.
And other driveways too when I go to friends' houses or somewhere.
I've got a
Yeah, okay.
relatively long driveway. It's probably 40, almost 50 meters long, and 13.2.9 would not drive inside. It would sort of go maybe 10, 15 meters inside, maybe 2 out of 10 times. And 14.3.3 and 3.5 as well goes all the way in, pretty much right up to the garage. Yeah, every single time.
Mine is, sorry, Pete, I thought you finished.
No, I have, sorry.
So mine's the same, Norm, but I've got a 2022 with no FSD, of course. It's always the little red arrow always shows my car's position correctly, but it says that I'm next door. And next door is like 3 meters away. So I brought that up. I've got a running issue with service at the moment. I brought that up. And that's this underlying mapping issue that's going on that we don't really quite know what the story is. But the display, as in Google Maps, and its GPS location is actually spot on. It knows it's in my garage, which is literally 1 meter away from next door, but it never shows my house 27. It always displays the address of 25. So it's whatever that issue is. So, and obviously you've got a newer one, I take it, Norm. So it's across the fleet, not just in FSD or anything.
And I submitted a request to Google to fix it. I thought they were going to fix it, but they said no, they can't.
I think, Harold, didn't you have that problem before? I think you decided just to buy the house next door, didn't you? Just to get rid of the problem.
Yeah, I just
you have to sell it now. You got the new version fixed that you have to get rid of the house. So
yeah, I just do what my mate, what's his name, the Aussie actor in Byron Bay. He just buys all the properties around. It's not about the house you buy. Sorry,
is it Brian Brown?
No, the other guy, the big guy.
Yeah. Chris
Hemsworth. Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth. So you don't just buy a nice property, you need to buy all the ones surrounding, so the paparazzi are further away. I'll be one of them one day. Not a movie star, but anyway. James, you had your hand up patiently.
Oh, sorry, we finished that. Yep. With the new Model YL in advanced auto, I don't have FSD. I've got the normal autopilot. When I tap the brake or take it out, it doesn't keep the speed.
Yes.
But my other Model Y does.
Yes.
Is that just the difference between the two cars?
No.
No settings I can find?
No. So it was something that Tesla has initiated last year, actually. So James, you wouldn't have come across it because your car was a 2022.
Yeah.
No, 2022 Model Y. I think in sometime last year, all cars sold after a certain date, they altered the behavior of how you engage autopilot and traffic aware and TAC, traffic aware cruise control. In the classic cars, you had a optional two button step, which was one press was, or well, in Model Ys, they had a stalk. So you could, one tap down was traffic aware cruise control, and a double tap was autopilot. And if you bumped your steering wheel out of autopilot, it would revert to traffic aware cruise control. The problem was there were too many Tesla owners that lost situational awareness and weren't aware that they might have nudged the steering wheel while they were in autopilot, and it reverts to traffic aware cruise control. So the car keeps moving forwards without any change of feeling or whatever. And there's actually a classic video that someone got on a dash cam, actually right near my place on the Kwinana Freeway going south, just before the Mount Henry Bridge, whereby this Model Y ever so gently, slowly goes off the road. And as it starts getting a bit rough, the driver suddenly realizes what's going on, because they were obviously looking at their phone or screen or passenger or whatever, and ever so gently went off the road. By the time they realized something had gone wrong, there was a freeway street light right in front of them, and they smacked right in it and came to a very quick stop. I dare say Tesla rightly has gotten sick of some Tesla owners doing this, and their solution is, as soon as you bump autopilot off, there is no reversion to traffic aware cruise control. It just simply disengages everything. The car starts slowing down immediately. The hope is, if you feel the car suddenly decelerating, I wouldn't say rapidly, but decelerating, then you're going to be aware of what's going on and hopefully look up towards the front of the car, which is where all the action's going to happen very quickly. That's why it is, James. Unfortunately, there is one way around it if it's annoying, especially if you're on autopilot. Autopilot refuses to engage, and as per Tesla's terms and conditions for autopilot or auto steer, whatever they want to call it, it will not engage in an unmarked road, full stop. So it can be annoying if you're using autopilot around town and then you come to a small suburban road and you want to engage it again and it won't, and you want to go, oh, well, now I don't mind steering, but I'd really rather the speed be controlled by the car. You can't then do a different action to get into cruise control. The only way you can do it is set two profiles that you can tap on the touchscreen. One profile has autopilot as the engagement target, and the other profile has traffic aware cruise control, and the car will let you flick between profiles. The reason why I mention that is, if you're driving along and you've got autopilot set, you can go into the autopilot menu or auto drive menu, and you can then say, no, I want to have traffic aware cruise control as the setting. It will let you do that, but while you're driving, it won't let you go from setting setting autopilot while you're in traffic aware cruise control. You have to basically bring the car to a stop. Possible, I think you have to put it in park before you can change the menu setting. But by using profiles, different profiles, that's a stealthy way of getting around that issue, albeit it's still a bit clunky. But James, it's basically because Tesla decided it was inappropriate to continue allowing people to lose situational awareness and careen gently into cars on the side of the road, lamp poles, trees, etc. But all the old cars, I guess their decision was, rather than retrospectively removing that feature, they allowed it to be grandfathered, but all new cars made after a certain decision date had the new regime. Alrighty.
I think they made the right decision there, because I've got the 2022, and it has caught me once, that scenario you described, and I pay attention. You know, I say that with all due modesty. I went, hang on a minute, why is it still going? So I think they
Yeah.
made the right decision.
In honesty, I think so, yes, but it's easy for me to say because I'm now in an FSD ecosystem. Ultimately, everything many of us are going through with our cars in 5 years' time will be moot, because all Teslas will have, in 5 years' time, will have FSD as standard. In fact, in less than 10 years, FSD will be mandatory in all new cars sold in Australia. I have zero doubt. Just like all cars in Australia that are to be legally registered must have ABS, stability control, and all these electronic features that were unheard of 30 years ago, 35 years ago. So we're in this classic transition phase. Alrighty, anyone with a new car or newly into Tesla's got any questions? And please, like I said, feel free to just ask away. Or maybe later. Alrighty. Obviously we had the SpaceX thing. Again, that was awesome. Elon Musk seriously did say they are going to commission send another ship out to get Starship. I really, really hope, I know it won't happen, but it'd be awesome for it to be landed at Exmouth and maybe put on display, perhaps in Carnarvon or something like that. Look, maybe they'll just tow it all the way back to the States and that'll be it, and they'll stick it in the Rocket Garden or something, but pretty awesome. We obviously also had, it was more than a week ago. No, I think it was a week ago. We had the Tesla earnings call. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. I can't remember. And again, that was a lot of people were happy with the call, were unhappy with the call. People remarked that most of the silly say questions were effectively sidestepped because I think Tesla rightly said, well, there's not a lot we're going to say about it. They kind of admitted that doing robotaxis is hard and they're being super duper careful, bearing in mind that robotaxis have been on the roads for more than 12 months now. And by now people expected tens of thousands, if not more, cybercabs or robotaxis to be on the roads. And there's really just hundreds of them. But like anything, it's slowly, and then all at once.
But Elon Musk did say why that was. He said that, they just can't afford to have even, run over a pet, let alone injure someone or have a fatality, because it will be worldwide news and the media will just crucify them. So they have to go as slowly as they possibly can, well, as fast as they possibly can, while still trying to ensure no fatalities. But the fatalities are inevitable. It's just the law of large numbers, because the system is not perfect and no system will ever be perfect. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be safer than a human driver. So it's already 7 to 8 times safer, according to US statistics. So, the media and politicians who would hold back that progress as soon as there's a first fatality are really, not looking at the other 7 people that may die as a result of them holding the progress back. And that's really how you need to look at the overall stats rather than, just one incident. But unfortunately, that's the that's the environment in which we live. So they have no other option but to go as
carefully,
as carefully as they have to. Yeah.
Yep. Look, it's a classic. Humans are we're just super dumb as a whole. Again, humans accept 1 million people a year dying in car crashes. But if that was substituted for 1,000 people killed by a machine, they would go, no, ban the machines, let the people kill the other 999,000 people. That's okay. Because at least people think machines are inherently evil or weird or something. So,
I mean, we have 2 or 3 shark attacks a year, and it's the end of the world. But during that whole 12-month period, there was another 3,000 people that died on the road, and there was even more people that died prematurely from air pollution, most of which caused by transport. You know,
Yeah.
How
but
many
that
people died listening to this podcast when they fell asleep driving a vehicle? I reckon that number would probably be pretty high. We could be in line for getting banned pretty soon, Harold, I think.
Yes.
we
Please
better
do not.
liven it up.
Please do not watch this. Well, actually, Tesla doesn't let
While
you watch
driving.
it on your touchscreen. But pro tip, boys and girls, you can just hook your iPad straight over your touchscreen and have it streaming from your Starlink terminal, and you can do anything you like and play games too while you're driving. Actually,
Don't, Harold.
but
Take it up your sun visor as well, right in front of your face. It's much easier.
yeah, exactly. That's
In
right.
theory.
Look, you can just buy Apple. What's those things called? Apple. The Apple
VR goggles.
The VR goggles, whatever that's called, Apple Vision, something like that.
Oh yeah, Apple Vision.
Yeah, that could work really well. No, don't do that, boys and girls. Yeah, so we had the earnings call. The truth of the matter is, actually, what's going to be very exciting. I didn't put it in the news today because I just couldn't be bothered. I'm sorry to say, but actually, next week there will be an Ask Us Anything, obviously on next Wednesday, and then the day after, the morning after, will be the SpaceX first earnings call. And that's where some retail shareholders have, especially Alexandra Mers, has hoped and surmised that might be when there could be an announcement of the intention to propose the merger of SpaceX and Tesla. So I thought I'd just put that out there, as many others have. And whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, some of us Teslaonaires are less Teslaonary than we were before. We're kind of 3/4 as affluent as we were a few months ago, but many of us are in it for the long game.
You make an offer, Harold, to go public at 420 or something? Didn't you say you're gonna go take it out of the?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll take Tesla private for 420. I wouldn't sell my shares for 420. 840 maybe. For a short term.
I've still got to sell all of mine for $1,000, just in case. Wake up one day.
Exactly. If anyone wants to buy all my Tesla shares for $1,000 each tonight, they're sold. You can have them. Sorry, you can buy them.
Talking about SpaceX, not Tesla.
Either. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Either. So they both share prices have gone down for anyone that's interested.
Okay, so Harold, did I get that right? So I can have all your Tesla shares for $1,000
each.
Yeah, he didn't say each. Yeah,
each.
No, you said all your shares. No. You said it. Yeah. That's it.
No, all my shares for
for that case, I'll give you $2,000 then for all your shares.
Oh, let's start the bidding. What am I bid?
3,000.
Yeah, you're going to have to put a few zeros after that.
Yeah, exactly.
Anywho, so look, there's a lot of interesting things happen for people possibly interested in a merger, and the most logical thing would be a merger of equals. Happily, SpaceX's market cap is about 50% higher than Tesla's, even though at the moment they're both down. But the absolute value is less important than the relative value. Because if SpaceX said we are proposing to merge as equals, then Tesla's share price would either go up 50% or SpaceX's would go down 30% to match the market cap.
Or a bit of both.
Or a bit of both. Yeah, a bit of both. So, and the big issue on a potential, the thing is, the Tesla shareholders would have to approve a merger, as would SpaceX shareholders, However, Elon Musk basically holds the casting vote for SpaceX shareholders, but for Tesla, he certainly doesn't. And every shareholder that does not vote, that vote is counted as a no. So you need 50.1% of all 3.5 billion shares vote yes, or vote yes. And if you vote no or don't vote, that's a no. So, and look, there's indisputable synergies. I mean, anyone that drives in the bush with a Starlink terminal, or even a mobile phone actually, in a Tesla can see those synergies, because you've got the Tesla car, the Tesla supercharger network, which is the only one that's truly reliable. You've got your mobile phone, which if you're with Telstra and you go in the middle of nowhere, will revert to sending and receiving text messages via Starlink satellites, courtesy of SpaceX. You've got Grok in the car, which is courtesy of SpaceX AI. There's a whole lot of synergies. Tesla helps SpaceX, SpaceX helps Tesla. It just makes sense they all come together. If and when it happens, it'll be a wonderful thing in the long term. In the short term, there might be a little bit of ruction and whatever, but hey, Elon Musk is notoriously at making impossible things merely late. And, we saw the SpaceX Starship do its, it is the first wholly reusable system, or at least the top part, orbital class vehicle that has successfully, well, no, the space shuttle did actually, but anyway, it's the first time it's returned to Earth intact, albeit wet. By the way, it launched 20 version 3. I think they weigh, Mike, is it nearly 2 tons? 2 tons each? There's 60 of them. There's 2 tons each.
60?
There's 60 of them. No, they launched 20 of the version 3 satellites, all of which, by the way, burned up in the atmosphere because it was a suborbital flight. But the point was, they tested that they connected their laser links. They successfully communicated with ground stations, and I presume mobile phones. I don't know, but probably, we haven't been told yet, over Africa, I presume. And that test all went successfully. Solar panels, ion thrusters, blah, blah, blah. Those version 3 Starlink satellites have, one Starship launch is the equivalent of 20 Falcon 9 launches, I think, of internet and data capacity. So that's the equivalence.
Did you want a live demo?
So what I'm going to do, and again, don't do this at home, kids. I'm going to spotlight Russell for a moment. Go, Russell.
All right, so this will happen. Comes up, and then when it gets into orbit, and then it does that, and then it does that, and rolls over like that, and then the shit comes out here. And then does
right,
that.
that's a technical term. And then what does it do when it lands on the ocean again? And then, yep.
Can you see the?
No, you're off screen. Yeah, there we go.
Cool.
So, do tell me, Russell, how allegedly did you smuggle that through the postal system?
Something in a sesame.
Oh, look at that. Oh, sorry, that's in the darkness. That's even better. Very good. So how did you smuggle that through the Australia Post secure system?
I just put my name on it and told them to send it. There's no conspiracies in this one.
No, it is just an appliance.
You just got to have enough equity in Tesla to afford it. That's all. Freaking thing cost me an arm and a leg. What I didn't spend on SpaceX shares, well, I got rejected. I ended up spending on this damn thing.
And that's a lot. Yeah.
It's just
we got
expensive. The
another
problem with postage, when you get stuff
investor
from
on
over
the
there, it's really
spectrum.
expensive. In fairness, though, it got delivered from the US in 2 days, whereas whereas I got these ordered from Tesla in Australia, which is like the puddle lights, these puddle lights, these ones,
Yeah.
Yep.
2.5 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
Weeks.
yeah. So it's a bit of a different level of service you get when you pay the extra money, I guess.
Indeed. Indeed. So someone was going to say something or ask something?
No, it's okay, Harold.
Oh, okay, John, no worries. Very good. All right. Anyone got any questions, even basic questions or comments? Now's a great time.
Harold, or anybody, does anybody have an actual login and license to AIS? As in, is it AIS, the maritime ship location system? Because I haven't. I used to have in my old work, because I work with the maritime guys. And as you've probably seen, Harold, the space engineer on X is following it with his accounts, but he's on American time. So we'll hear overnight whether a ship's going out to meet ship 40. But I was hoping somebody here will be able to track it in Aussie time so that we can go on a road trip.
Oh, yeah. And actually, that's a dead set commitment, which, in fact, the good news about that, funny that you mentioned road trips, and I'll go to Exmouth in a heartbeat just to see it, even if it doesn't land, just even if it is just floating out near the harbour or something like that, because it'd be worth it.
I mean, I can't imagine going it back to America. They'll have to get some sort of cargo vessel.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not necessarily perfectly watertight, and water just gets.
Sink. No, it's not going to sink. Not unless they open things. You know, fluid stuff. People fairly straightforward. There's a couple of big tubs in there, and if you don't know how it works, put a glass upside down in a tub of water, and the water does not go up the glass.
Yeah,
right?
indeed.
So it ain't going to sink. It's not that heavy.
Indeed.
So the issue is unless they had leftover nitrogen and they purged after splashdown, there will be methane and liquid oxygen in the vessels. So they've got to bring it somewhere where they can put a purge system onto it, and then they can bring it into dock and put it onto something. So they'll need a decent, well, not a huge crane actually, because it's not that heavy. And then they can sail it back, or because I can't imagine they're going to leave it here. Maybe they'll leave the shell here and take the engines off. Maybe you've got contacts with Elon. We should send him a note saying, "Oi,
yeah, turn to an Airbnb or something."
Starship Hotel.
Starship Hotel.
That's it.
Look, Elon and I have to admit, I don't want to deny, Elon and I are besties, but our relationship is professional, and I wouldn't ask for little minor favors like that. You know, I only deal with the big stuff. It would be lovely. I know there's all these, is it ITAR or whatever, these stupid American rules about, rocket secrets and stuff, even though, Arianespace have no qualms in ditching all their rockets into the Pacific Ocean and other things. So, yeah, I mean, I guess
you ditch it deep, it's no problem, but
true.
They're not going to be even scuttling it at this point. It's either live firing or somebody puts himself at risk to put some decent explosives along the side of it. Because again, all the ignoramuses on thing are going, why don't they just put in the, flight termination system? Well, it's inactive once it's safe, people. So,
Yeah. By the way, the dry weight, but it's wet. But anyway, the dry weight of a Starship is between, according to AI overview by Google, which is questionable, between 85 and 130 tons. So they'll need a couple of big cranes at Exmouth if that's where they wanted to put it. But
they're not 150 tons, not that big.
But they never get it into Exmouth Marina, it wouldn't make it in there. Too
True
long.
too.
Too
Yeah.
long.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Look, I'm glad that Elon Musk has committed to retrieving it. Where he retrieves it to, and whether ends up in pieces or something, it's still a great achievement.
Bring it down the Frio. That'd be cool.
It would be. It would be cool.
There are floating crane assets. So I work with the petrochemical guys up there, so I know what's around. It just depends how many are vacant at the moment, and that's why it's probably taken them a few days to answer it, right?
Well, don't you get those? There's a ship that actually rescues ships, so it sinks itself, slides under the ship, raises itself up, so you can do anything for money. So, you know. And like SpaceX always says, the most valuable cargo is actually payload is data.
Yep.
So having a ship intact with its tiles intact, or at least, well, basically intact, is very, very valuable information that is vastly worth more than all the materials that ship was made of in their learning process. So anyway, all right, enough about the SpaceX stuff. Once again, anyone got any real simple basic Tesla questions?
When you're on your... No,
Cameron.
you go. No, the other guy.
Oh, sorry, whoever, I didn't see who it was. Yep, it's the other gentleman.
I'm seeing a few more indications around for 14 light. You know, there's a few guys and I'm not sure. I was just looking at it while somebody else was talking. It may even be 1 or 2 in Australia now.
I heard rumors, so I don't know anything. I don't have any inside information, but I've heard rumors that maybe 1 or 2 months.
Hardware 3.
Well, version 14 Lite on hardware 3 cars in Australia. Yeah. But yes, there. Yes, so it sounds like there was at least one already in Australia, maybe 3-4 days ago. So it's probably obviously a Tesla owned car.
Because there's a release that somebody got today on a 3, which looked as though it had the same light numbers.
Yeah, I got that release. It was just an update for Grok to say, now you can say, hey, Grok, or you can also say, dismiss Grok, and it'll turn off.
Thanks.
I'm pretty sure that was a minor update.
Oh, I guess you made your
say I lost you there.
Sorry, go Cameron.
Oh no, I was going to ask, on your travels, Harold, did you ever have one of those breakaway charge setups, or have you heard of anyone having one? So like when you're in the middle of charging, you can just literally hit eject and drive off and it just breaks out. You heard of that?
I thought that was that's been a request that's been made by a all female Tesla group in the States.
Yeah,
actually, I think Alexandra Merz might have made that appeal. Yeah. So the idea is if you had a supercharger, because in the States, all that Teslas ever charge at is superchargers, because why would you ever charge anywhere else, especially when they are everywhere? And the idea was you could just press a button on your touchscreen and the latch releases, and there'd have to be like a release. There'd have to be a spring-loaded or a thruster or a solenoid that actually ejects the cable out of the car, which then lets you just drive off.
The device is called EVject. It was the Now You Know guys that did like a promotional thing, and that's the company that you can get it. It's
The only problem is you got to put it on before you charge each time. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's not cheap.
No. And it's sacrificial. It breaks in half.
Yeah.
So half of it stays in your car as you drive off, and the other half, protects the charger connector as it falls to the ground.
It's only made for the NACS, the NACS connector.
Yeah. I think they're going to do a CCS too, but I think that's still going. So, but yeah, like Pete said, it's not cheap.
And it says Tesla's suing them because it's getting overheating.
No, that was at
So,
the beginning. Then
yeah,
they had a
right.
discussion, and then they did like
Okay.
a second generation one. So it actually has a temperature sensor in it now or something.
Yeah, because the breakaway contacts were getting a
Yeah.
bit.
The way they were testing it was,
Yeah.
they just sort of plugged it in to
Yeah.
power itself, not the car. So they were sort of overloading it. But anyway, that's all sorted. That was about a year ago, I think, the Tesla issue.
Yeah, it'd be handy
Yeah.
to find in some of our EV highway positions they've chosen. There's a few towns you don't want to get out of your car to charge.
Yes, let's not mention them. But
No,
if you've
but
been there, you know the towns.
You know.
And
Yeah.
if you know, you know.
You're not going to get taken away by a dingo.
Actually, there is a bit of good news. I won't bring it up on. I can just speak to it. The NRMA, for all of their issues, have at least installed their transportable prefabricated solar powered diesel backed up dual DC charger. So it's got 4 nozzles that claim a nameplate of 80 kilowatts each, which will never happen, at the Victoria River Roadhouse between Kununurra and Katherine. So that's a great achievement. And the only shame is they haven't continued to do this years ago, or already done this years ago. So the total number of DC charges that the NRMA have delivered as part of the 117 site, $38 million federal government funded initiative, co-funding initiative announced 2 elections ago, the number of sites they've completed in WA is precisely 2. One at Eneabba and one at Manjimup. And that's all they've done in 3 years. Or 3.5, whatever it is. But hey, at least... Go, Jackie.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask the question. I saw the other day an article about Coles. Coles, in conjunction, I think it was, with NRMA, are going to be putting up a huge.
No, that was in conjunctions with EVIE networks.
Oh, well,
yeah, 30 DC charges, but none in WA, unfortunately.
Okay, that'll be right.
Yeah, as per usual. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we got someone called D got the hand up.
Hey, Harold and everyone. Enjoying the discussion. Thanks. Good to hear about SpaceX and Tesla, and it's not just about the cars itself. So very interested. I think from what I understand, one of obviously Elon's big motivations is obviously the voting power side of things on Tesla, right? If the merger goes through, he will have because he'll have voting control of SpaceX effectively. So if the merger goes through, then at least he can do things.
I think I just, it's kind of a little bit ethereal, but I think if they do a straight merger of equals, I think his voting rights go down to about 50%-ish. It's pretty line ball on about 50-ish%. Now, one of the biggest issues, and in fact, I've got to admit, I share the same issue that Alexandra Mers shares or has, and that is that currently in SpaceX, there are 2 classes of voting shares. This is quite common for founder companies, tech companies. So Google, for example, has got this sort of setup, and Meta, and well, should I say Alphabet being Google and Meta being Facebook, and no doubt several other very large mega cap companies. The founder has super voting rights. There's 2 classes of shares, say an A class, which is all ordinary shares, 1 vote per share, equal representation. Then there are some class B shares that Elon Musk has in SpaceX, and they have a I think it's a 5-to-1 ratio.
And
So,
one.
or 10-to-1. And he effectively currently in SpaceX has an 82% total voting right. Plus there are 2 tiers of votes, so that for any resolution to be passed at a shareholders meeting or a special meeting, there are 2 criteria that need to be maintained. Firstly, the majority of all shares, Class A and B, have to agree to the proposal, and then a separate, let's call it vote, is for the Class B shares have to agree. The majority of Class B shares, well, Elon Musk has effectively nearly all the Class B shares. Now that's fine, because in his lifetime, for as long as he is competent to lead any company, I don't think any of us object to Elon Musk having effectively control of the company and its direction. His past history has proven time in, time out that he is absolutely the right person to do these things, to do the hard things, and take the risks and all that sort of stuff. However, as the constitution of SpaceX, or whatever you call it, exists at the moment, all of those, all of Elon Musk's shares, including the Class B supervoting shares, will be passed to his descendants upon his demise. And spoiler alert, Elon Musk is going to die, as everyone everyone on Earth eventually. So it's not a matter of if he dies, it's when he dies, and he could die any time between the next 10 seconds and the next 30, 40 years. So the question of anyone who well, the good thing is, if there is a proposed merger between SpaceX and Tesla, the board, the directors and the board of Tesla are literally obliged to work within the best interests of Tesla shareholders in accessing and negotiating any proposed merger terms. And you could almost bet London to a brick that any independent directors, and probably most of the directors of Tesla, would rightly say, yep, it's a great idea, we love it. However, we think it would be appropriate, and this happens in other mega cap companies with founders with super voting rights, that upon, and this actually happens even with divorce settlements and things like that, upon the demise of the founder, by whether it's death, incompetence, or structural change, like they get divorced and there's a divorce settlement, blah, 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 those super voting right shares revert to simple Class A, 1-for-1 voting rights. So all the capital, we don't care if the capital goes to his children, of which he's got currently 15, 16, 17 and counting, or whatever it is.
And it's the control issue. 100%.
And it's a control issue, because it is absolutely plausible that if you were a hedge fund that could think of an advantage in killing the share price of something like the combined entity of SpaceX and Tesla, all you need to do is, bribe is a strong word, but let's say financially incentivize, because bear in mind, some of Elon Musk's children are adults in their 20s, and some are babies who are 20 weeks old or 20 months old or whatever, and he's probably going to keep producing more babies because that's his thing. So you could imagine a hedge fund getting control of, engaging the services of quite a few of Musk's children's mothers, of which there are many, and say, we'll give you $50 billion if you give us the proxy rights to your children's shares.
That's who they're voting on.
And then we'll use that to bin the company by making it propose stupid things or weird things or whatever. And that's a bit of an extreme case, but I, as a Tesla shareholder who hope
Yep.
that SpaceX will be merged with Tesla, or Tesla will merge with SpaceX, I would be a lot more comfortable that for as long as Elon Musk is competent and whatever and alive, he does whatever his shares are his shares. But as soon as he demises, they should just go to his descendants, but get rid of the super voting rights, and that would be a resolution change as part of a merger negotiation thing, which I sincerely hope and somewhat trust that Tesla directors, who are obliged to work on solely on the best, what's best for Tesla shareholders, would get that deal done. And I think I would doubt very much as Elon Musk loves his children, as many as there are, I dare say he would probably comply with that. I'd certainly hope so.
Yeah, look, he seems very pragmatic, right? So I think, yeah. But look, yeah, thanks for explaining that, and I would agree with your sentiments on that. I do have a car question. Just
yes, absolutely.
Just contemplating. I was about to get the car tinted, and wondering whether to tint the roof versus a sunshade.
No,
and I was,
no. Do not bother tinting the roof. Even if it's a Model 3 or, well, sorry, what model is it?
It's a YL.
Oh, no, don't bother. So the roof, in fact, the YL has got a great roof. Look, what I've done is I went to Bunnings when I had my Model Y Performance and got it's like building insulation. It's a sandwich of 2 bits of aluminium foil between about 3 or 5 millimeters of dense foam or something like that. And I cut it to size, and then you can go to Teslas or Tesseries or even Tesla and get the standard black roof liner, which is like a mesh sort of thing. And I just use that to sandwich this whole thing into the car. As much as I love the view that you get from the glass roof, it's just dumb. It looks great. It's a classic thing of form over function. Actually, that's not quite true. Glass roofs are very stiff for as long as they're intact, so it does add to the stiffness of the car. But anyone who believes that a glass roof is great for thermal insulation is at leave of their senses. The one thing that people think window tint will do is reduce the heat. The fact is, on the YL, and I think even the Highland cars these days, there's basically zero UV that comes through, and there's zero shortwave infrared that comes in. It's all absorbed by the coatings and the metal coatings in the glass. But and while you're driving along in summer, the temperature of the glass roof will approach the temperature of the air flowing over it. When you are parked, it'll become red hot and boil an egg or fry an egg. In winter, it becomes really cold. So yeah, please don't bother with tint on the roof. It's pointless. Driving along, it'll be the same temperature. Parked, it'll be the same temperature, because it just becomes a black body and the radiation gets absorbed. It doesn't get reflected by a tint, because the tint necessarily goes on the inside of the glass. The glass has already absorbed it, gotten super hot, and is doing its best to reject it through the physics of radiation and convection and all that sort of stuff. On a YL, the only thing you need to really tint is the 2 front windows, the driver's front window and the passenger front window. All the back windows are tinted and got their coatings. And again, you're only supposed to tint. You're only legally allowed to tint to 80%. 20%.
20%,
absorption. So
Cool.
it's just an aesthetic thing. And get an infrared tint, yeah, because I think the glass on the front's it hasn't really got any layer of much at all. And unfortunately, you can't do anything about the windscreen, because in Australia, we're not allowed to have basically any coatings on a front windscreen.
Yeah, I understood that. All right, thanks for your view on that.
Cool, no worries. Steve.
Yes, so on another Tesla matter, they've released the backward compatibility patch for the Powerwall 3, so we'll now talk with the Powerwall 2.
Yeah.
Finally.
2 days ago.
Yes.
Yeah, it's about time.
Absolutely.
It's not that hard. It's yeah, about time. Shame
So does
they
that
haven't got
mean
the
I
three
can
phase yet.
I
Cameron.
can buy a Powerwall 3 now and add it to the Powerwall 2s?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Cool.
So
3 becomes the controller apparently, and the 2 just is then part of the battery pack. From what Ryan over in Ryan's model Y said today.
yeah, they said with the 3-phase one that now that it's been rolled out in Germany or something, that they are going to go to other 3-phase markets. So hopefully that means us. Then I'll finally get one.
You do need the new gateway though.
Yeah,
So
that's all right.
you can't just buy the Powerwall 3 itself. Go buy the Powerwall 3, and your gateway's got to be the later gateway.
Yeah, it's V2, not V1 gateway, but the V2 gateway's been around for about 6 years, so that one works.
Yeah, but if you've got one of the very early Powerwall 2s, then you won't have that one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very good. All right. Anyone else got any?
I've got a question, Harold.
Jared, yes.
Vehicle to load. Have you tested that with your machine?
Yes. So
what's the update with that?
No, it worked perfectly, Jared. Actually, I was thinking of you because you've got the Model Y Performance from Germany.
Yeah.
So we should get together and have a suss to see if it should work on your car, Jared.
Yeah, in America it does. It says all about it comes with the car when you buy it. But yes, I'd love to.
Let's get together next couple of days.
Yep, definitely.
And it's so quick. You don't even have to actually plug anything into the adapter. You just plug the adapter into the car, and the charge port instantly goes a throbbing green color, and it actually says on the app and on the touch screen that it's ready to provide power. So it's a very quick test, and it's all but certain your car will work, even though Tesla's website frustratingly doesn't mention the Y Performance.
No, it doesn't. No, not at all.
Harold's got one the right way up now.
Oh yeah, actually, let me just for the sake of it. Actually, Pete, since I don't want to listen to you skiding on about how awesome your trip was and all that stuff, why don't you regale everyone else? Because I just don't want to hear it. No, I do, but I can always watch it on YouTube or X later on. While I'm doing a bit of stuff, why don't you regale everyone with all the stuff you did in the States? And no doubt, by the time you get to the first 15 paragraphs, I would have been back anyway. So, wax away.
Yeah, it was a absolutely amazing trip. Something that we actually planned to do before COVID, but then COVID hit, and just put it on the back burner, and just finally managed to do it. And I'm kind of glad that we did it a little bit later as well, because got to do a lot of things that I wouldn't have been able to do a couple of years ago. Got to sit in a cyber cab and got to watch one charge, and had first of all got to drive the Cybertruck, the Cyber Beast, around for a lot of time. Both the Cyber Beast and a dual motor. So we hired 4 different cars: the Cyber Beast, dual motor Cybertruck, the Model Y standard. So that's a stripped down version, and also a 2023 Model Y 7-seater, which we don't have here either. So all 4 cars that we hired, we don't have here. So that was just, quite amazing. Got to see a couple of SpaceX launches, went to Starbase, got to see Starship, but only, wasn't fully stacked, but only from afar away. And we were there on the 4th of July, which is, and it was the 250th 4th of July. So America's celebration. So SpaceX had a bit of a party and a band and stuff on Boca Chica Beach. So that was pretty cool. Wanted to hire a Rivian and a Lucid as well, and a excuse me, and a Plaid Model S, but just didn't get to that. Didn't work out. Yeah, got to charge at all those famous superchargers, Firebar, Harris Range, Tesla Oasis. So that's the one in Lost Hills, the biggest supercharger in the world. We've got something like 160 superchargers. So, but even like a box standard supercharger, just in the middle of suburbia somewhere at a Target, will have something like 40 stalls. You know, it's yeah, quite incredible. Yeah, got to do a quick met so many awesome people, a lot of quite a few Tesla employees actually. And got to speak to Ryan McCaffrey from Ride the Lightning. Recorded a lightning round episode with him, which was pretty cool. And yeah, met heaps of people. Yeah, drove in the robo taxi. So they did 3 robo taxi rides, which was just unbelievable. It's really, really cool. And they're all 3 of them. I put up videos of all 3 of them on my X, and they were all completely flawless. Did 5 Waymo rides. A couple of them were flawless. A couple of them weren't, but weren't too bad. The Waymo was a lot better than I actually thought it would be. I thought it'd be a lot more robotic, but it was similar to the Robotaxi. It was fairly smooth and human-like-ish. But yeah, you could just tell it wasn't quite Tesla's software wasn't quite Robotaxi, but wasn't far off. So yeah, they also had Zoox in there. In Austin, they also had Zoox and another company. So they had 4 networks, Waymo, Robotaxi, Zoox, and this other one. But the other 2, unfortunately, they weren't doing any public rides. So we could only ride in the Waymo and the Robotaxi. But yeah, got to see Optimus, but only the figurine, unfortunately. But and got to do 2 of the factory tours, so both Fremont as well as Austin. So that was unbelievable. That was really, really cool. And yeah, got to drive a Hardware 3 car on version 12 in New York. That was the 7-seater Model Y. And yeah, drove about 3,000 kilometers, 3,500 kilometers in the Cybertruck on version 14.3.2, version 14.3.3, and version 14.3.4, which 14.3.4 we never got in Australia. We went from 3.3 to 3.5 now. So, and yeah, did that whole 3,500 kilometers without a single safety intervention, without just like, it was virtually flawless. It was, so the versions in the US are more reliable than the ones that we have here in Australia, but we are getting closer. But yeah, like you can understand why people, drive with their hands on their thighs, over there. And, took the Cybertruck to Lombard Street in San Francisco, which is that really curvy street, and drove it manually through there. So that's a massive car, but with the 4-wheel steering and the steer-by-wire, it was no worries at all, and got FSD to do it as well. So I've forgotten to put that video up. I've got a couple of those videos, so I'll put those videos up on X at some point as well. Yeah, can't think of anything else to mention, but yeah, if anyone is...
Did you go to the Tesla diner?
Oh, of course, yes. Forgot to mention the Tesla diner.
So you got some popcorn from Optimus?
No, unfortunately, he only comes out every now and then. So I'm assuming it's a he. But
Be transitioning.
What's that?
Could be transitioning to the other side.
Could be. But yeah, so they put up on the website when it's going to be there. So it only comes sort of every now and then. And yeah, I was keeping an eye out, but when we were in LA, yeah, it wasn't there. So unfortunately we didn't see. But got to see what's his name? Lars Moravi. So we were in the doing the factory tour through the Austin factory, and at the end, we just sort of congregated in the area in one of the front offices. And I just looked to the left, and I saw him come out of one of the offices and went in. So yeah, got to see him from about 10 meters away for about 4 or 5 seconds. So that was pretty cool. So yeah.
You should have yelled out to him, "Hey, Lars!"
Yeah. Hey, Lars, do you know who I am? He would have gone, who?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as he walked out, I went, "Oh, that's Lars Moravi," to our guide, and he goes, "Yeah, he is. That's
works
him."
here.
Hey, Pete,
yeah.
are those factory tours open to the public?
No. So the Fremont one used to be, but they closed that option a couple of years ago, and I don't think Austin ever was, unless I'm mistaken.
So how did you get to? Is it through some of the connection that you managed to get there?
Yeah,
Pete's important, so he doesn't want to discuss it. But
okay,
it's
neat to know.
It's neat to know.
Yeah, I knew some Tesla employees from before, but if you're going to go to the US and you want to do a factory tour, just reach out to me on X or somewhere.
Don't say that, Pete. You're going to get so many requests, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop it.
Okay.
I'll give you 6 months notice. Thanks, mate. I'm going at the end of the year.
Cool.
Harold, I think you're drastically overestimating the number of viewers you get in this program, mate.
Overestimating? Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And not just the number, but the people that are actually. So Harold has said from pretty much the second or the third episode that Elon watches these. So.
Yeah. I mean, heck, if you've had your credit card on here, numbers on here for every single episode, and no one's used it yet, so it's not like.
Actually, no, I won't say that. All right, so very good, Pete. And I'm going to listen. Actually, I'm going to ring you up myself, when you're free, and get you to tell me all about it. All right, I'm just going to spotlight. So the reason why I was away wasn't because I hate Pete's guts, is because I wanted to grab this adapter. This is probably an example. This is an example of what not to do, or not of what. Yeah, not what of what not to do. I'll just spotlight so you can see it properly. If you don't look at the little, so what I did, there used to be one of these that I bought, and I turned it. I did some exploratory cutting, and they were like pieces. And one of the reasons why you can't pull it apart is there's actually a barbed boss, I think it's called, whatever. And it's the idea of this is it's a one use. You jam it into the little hole in there, and when you mate it, it never comes apart. So these things are basically permanently stuck together. But I cut this one apart. I didn't have a proper hacksaw, so I used a power hacksaw and just hacked the absolute bejesus out of it. But I did enough and pulled enough pieces apart to work out that the socket, and lose focus, sits in this cradle, and this cradle basically sits in the upper part of this. Now, when you buy this on Tesla's web store, it stupidly comes upside down like that. Now, that is because in China, this standard plug, it's an AS3112 from memory. This is actually used in China as well, but they customarily have the earth pin at the top and the active and neutral pins at the bottom. What I am all but certain of is that when Tesla said they wanted the same adapter for the Australian market, these are all made in China, it even says so, that the Chinese designers just went, yeah, we'll just make it with the thing upside down. I can't be bothered digging out my X post and show you what it looks like with a UMC facing, sort of the tail facing upwards and to the, droops down. It's just dumb. So what I did was, after doing all of this sort of cutting and stuff, my first effort, which is the easiest thing, was that's the top of the plug. So you can actually see it's single phase. It's only got the active, earth and neutral, or L1 earth and neutral. Then there's L2 and L3 are not connected. So I'm having difficulties because this screen isn't backwards, so it's hard to do it correctly. So what I did was I just basically cut around the adapter and literally got this top and spun it round. So you can see this bit here is the bottom, that bit's the top. So it says Esler, and on the other side, which is the top, it's got T, and then this bit. So when you plug it into the car, rather than it drooping down like this, which is the way it would normally go, and having the water drain hole at the bottom where it should be, because that's where water wants to go, because gravity is a myth, the earth just sucks, I spun this one around. So when it's in the car, it actually sort of faces upwards, and the drain hole's at the top and not the bottom. But at least the plug faces the correct way.
So it's a water inlet, Harold.
So it's a water inlet. It's to make sure it's nicely moist and bathed in water. Then, because I found out about this cradle, and what I believe is for Tesla to fix this, they just need to get Tesla China to change the shape of this cradle so that it basically sits upside down. Or should I say, so that this socket goes this way in the cradle rather than that way. Anyway, as it turns out, putting it the correct way, I had to cut in a slightly different position, pull this apart, then turn this upside down while it's connected to all the wires and stuff. And this was actually a lot harder, a lot harder. But nonetheless, this is a proof of concept that it basically can be done. Now, sadly, I know Tesla won't do it because, look, they've got a number of these things in stock. Tesla are very pragmatic as far as, well, we've given you something that works, so, deal with it. But I guess as an engineering example, it highlights there would have been a drawing of this and a rendering of this, a 3D rendering of it, probably. Or if there wasn't, there should have been, that was sent to someone in Tesla Australia before they made it for them to check and to ask the question, oh, it's upside down. How about we put it the correct way for Australian conditions? And I dare say that process was skipped. And then Tesla Australia were basically confronted with, well, here's a, 50 boxes of 100 each or something, whatever it is. Here's 2,000 of these adapters, and it is what it is. And anyway, that's
so
that
what
story.
version are you up to now, Harold? Is that like version 3, was it, or version 4?
This is version 3. So I forget the gentleman's name who does technology connections. He used to say, because of the magic of buying two, you had like the wrecked one and the good one, and he'd show you the good one and then show you what's inside it. I've got 3.
Can I make a suggestion then?
Yes.
Have you got a UMC plug there?
No, but I can.
Okay. That's all right.
Yeah, go on.
What about if you flip that the other way around instead?
There's a photo in the chat. Have a look.
Yeah. So what I did.
If Tesla aren't gonna change the adapter, would they change the plug instead? So then only the plugs that go in the cars would be correct and everything else would be wrong. That's what they do actually. They would make it so every other situation would be bad for everybody else, but the one in the car would be better. So when you plug it in at home, it does that instead.
Yeah. So this is what this is what my modified adapter looks like in the car, and this is what it looks like when a UMC is connected to it, with the earth pin facing the correct way. And then this is what it looks like when it's upside down. And so the UMC goes up at a 10:30 clock angle and then droops down.
Yeah, so just get make the UMC plug so it's the other angle, Harold. Do that next.
Or better still, have this not go at a 45 degree. See, one silly thing with the UMC plug is it goes off at this 45-degree angle. If it just had this coming out the end, then it wouldn't really matter which way it was facing. It would still just go straight out and then droop. But
Just replace it with a 439 plug. Harold, the clear 439 Clipsal plug. It's just a straight inline plug. And you just replace it with that.
The only issue
coming straight out, because the same issue applies, the weight of that box that's in the UMC. So you can't have it coming straight out, which is why it comes out at 45. It just needs to be the other way around.
Or it needs to go at a 90, not at a 45. It should be going straight down. That's not terrible. It's not great for caravan parks. A lot of the K-Max where you plug in, this really just doesn't work, and you need to get yourself a small patch lead just so that if you want to plug a UMC in. But this arrangement is, for all intents and purposes, ridiculous.
If you had a 150 mil long plug that you could plug into the end of it, you'd have no problem, would you?
A tail, yes. If you had a small, let's call it an ultra short extension cord, then that fixes the problem. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. But like I said, it's just a classic example of a lack of appropriate communication between two corporate entities. That's what's happened. And us as users either resort to doing things that are highly questionable, and I don't recommend anyone does this, because apart from voiding the warranty, if you don't seal this properly and it does get rain in it, you could kill yourself. So, electricity is not something to be played with. But hey, I just did it as a proof of concept. If anything, just to prove it can be done, and it should be done at the factory. But apart from that, I still love Tesla. So we don't want to dump on them too much. Alrighty. Sorry.
Sorry,
yes?
Harold. While you're
Yes,
on
Jackie.
that subject, with so what you've just showed us there is the UMC charger thing plugged into the car. So power's coming now out of the car. Is that what this is?
Yeah. So the whole point, what Tesla has introduced with the Model Y L and the new Model Y Performance is this adapter, which basically when you plug it into charge port, rather than charging the car, it actually extracts 240 volts at up to 15 amps from the car. So it's great if you're camping. You could plug you could plug a microwave, a kettle, a toaster, a toaster oven, induction hot plate, and
straight into that adapter?
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so
yes.
why are you plugging the charger into that adapter?
Okay. So one of the things you could do is, for example, if you've got a fully charged car and you're out and about somewhere, and some other Tesla or other EV was really low in power or stranded, you could just connect a mobile connector with either the 10 amp or 15 amp tail and charge that car at up to 3.3 kilowatts to give it some extra energy to make it to wherever it had to go. It's not something you do every day, but it's the purest thing of an EV donating energy to another EV as a demonstration. But in practical terms, what you'd use it for is a kettle. I mean, when I've been travelled out and about, I have the Breakfast of Champions, which is, Wheat Bix and a Tetra Pak of milk, blah, blah. and I've got a little 12-volt.
Air dryer.
It's like a travel cup that's got a little concentric circle heater thing, and you plug it in, and it will boil water in about 10 minutes. So, and I do 2-minute noodles, which I call 10-minute noodles because they soak for 10 minutes. Whatever I do on the road stays on the road. So now with this adapter, you can when you plug it into the car, and it sort of looks like this, you can then plug any appliance that will. I think the inverters are pretty good. So you could do microwave oven, toaster, because all of those appliances are 10 amp appliances, and this can actually feed up to 15 amps. Now, something you could do in remote areas, though, Jackie, is many houses in remote areas that have got single phase, they'll actually put a single phase 15 amp inlet with a changeover switch. So then they can, because often you lose power, especially in rural areas, you can then run a generator, petrol generator, and plug it into the house and run the house as long as you turn things off or whatever. And this car can do precisely that. So at a pinch, if you had a major outage, the easiest thing you could do is simply unplug your fridge, because that's the most important thing, and get an extension cord, plug it into your car, and you're good to go. The car will keep that fridge running for days, providing it's not already flat.
So this is not available on my Model 3, which is a Highland 24?
No. So at the moment, the only... in Australia, officially, the only model that they say works is the Model YL, the new Model YL. But we also know it works on the Model Y Performance, the new Juniper Performance built in Brandenburg in Germany. And Jared and I will prove it next couple of days. I already know it works, but Tesla, for whatever reason, just haven't put it on the website yet.
And correct me if I'm wrong, did they have that on the original Roadster?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. They did, Cameron. But apparently, according to Elon Musk, he said it several times, no one ever used it. Like, no one. But it would have been a different system, totally different. But yes, in principle, the old Roadster did have that function, apparently, and then literally no one was interested in it.
If you buy it in the US, it's a completely it's a dongle for your UMC.
Oh, and even in the US today, for the Model Y, Performance Model Y, it's a completely different setup. So in the US, they've effectively gone the route of backfeeding a newer version of the mobile connector. And what you do is you unplug the tail of the mobile connector, which in Australia normally has a 10 or 15 amp plug, and they change the tail to have a American version extension socket instead of a plug. So they have the female version for you to plug a load into, rather than a male version for you to plug into a wall.
Which comes with a car.
Which comes with the car.
When you buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas in Australia, this adapter costs $145. I think it's 145 or 125, one or the other.
45.
145. However, there is a limited edition, customized upside down tail. There's only one of these in existence that's been recorded, and that's probably a good thing, that I will sell for 10 Tesla shares.
And it's water cooled, Harold.
And it's water cooled. You can just drip the water in the top, because sometimes these pins get sticky and they need a bit of lubrication. So you just pour a little bit of water in the top, and it makes sure that, and when you see a little bit of foam coming out while it's connected, that's a good thing. Don't let that worry you. Yes. Anyway.
What happens
if it's a compliance certificate?
Not compatible, Harold? If you stick it in like a Model 3, just do nothing?
Yeah, it does nothing. Yeah. I actually plugged it into my wife's. I call it second generation Juniper. So it's not the launch edition. It's the one with the slightly bigger battery pack, but it's a Model Y standard long range Juniper. And all it does is it says charge adapter has no power, because it just treats it like it's a charger, and it goes, yeah, but it's got no power, so it's not working.
Yeah.
So is that software, do you think, or is there some
No,
hardware
it's
involved?
hardware. No. So very briefly, in Australia and in Europe, the Tesla onboard charger is a 3-phase charger. It has 3 separate, they're called switch mode power supplies, one for each phase. And what they basically do is they turn the AC into DC. They just have diodes that rectify it. And then they have transistors that switch very rapidly. There's 2 different stages made up of diodes and transistors. And had Tesla in the older chargers had all of these devices as transistors, then the power could have flown backwards rather than just forwards. When I say forwards, from the outside world into the battery,
Yep.
but not from the battery outwards. But what Tesla did on the Model Y L and on the new Model Y Performance, the Juniper, the new shape, is they changed the inverters in the what they call the penthouse in the top of the battery pack. They changed the electronics inside to be all transistors, which means that they can actually allow the power to flow from the DC, the battery side, out to the AC side. Something I haven't worked out yet, takes a bit of effort, and it probably doesn't mean much, is this plug is, you can see there's only 3 metal contacts. The other 2 at the bottom don't have metal. There's no connection. I'm going to make a dummy Type 2 to Type 2 cable and see if there's any voltage, if the inverters are turned on for these other 2 phases, it's probably less than a 50-50 chance. Tesla could absolutely do it, but it's just as equally easy for them to say, no, we'll just turn on this connector and call it a day. Just turn on one of the inverters. But there's a very slim chance, I think it's pretty slim, that the car could make 3-phase. It could, but I don't think it does. By the way, I have zero doubt that this unit has RCD protection and all that sort of stuff built in. This will be a properly protected device. So I have zero doubt that if you had a ground problem or earth leakage, this thing would trip instantly. I as an engineer, I almost know that for certain. I think, Mike, you were first, and then John, and then I think we're getting
John was first.
Oh, sorry, John. Okay, we'll go John, then Mike, and then we're going to call it a night.
Yeah, Harold, I just checked on Grok. It specifically says it's only for the YL, even though that's what Tesla are saying. So surely we wouldn't be putting it in our Berlin Model Y to try it.
No.
Model Y Performance.
Yes, yeah, my Model Y Performance.
Oh no, we'll be trying it. Don't you worry about that. If I'll be ringing Jared tomorrow and
Yes,
going, hey, bro, let's give it a go.
Yeah, definitely.
And the good thing is, if you stick it in the wrong car, it doesn't do anything. The car literally says, yeah, that charge is not working, because it's expecting power, it doesn't recognize it. So it's a non-destructive test. It doesn't do anything bad. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, but I'd wager
That'll work.
I'd wager a tenth of a Tesla share that it works.
Yeah, I agree.
So mine and Jared's are the same car. So
Yes,
it's just
yes.
a matter of whether you're officially you can't do it, even though it will work.
No,
because Tesla
I
aren't
think
going to support it.
No, I just think I don't know why Tesla, because it's known that it works in other places, and it's the same hardware. So I think it's just a documentation error.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
are they going to change that, you reckon? Because it says, well, from Grok, it says does not Tesla does not officially support it.
That's only because Grok has searched Tesla's website to see if in the
Okay, yeah,
specs
yeah,
it
yeah,
shows power share, and it just doesn't. So
yeah.
it's not that Grok knows. Grok's just feeding you what it searched, the results of its search. And yeah, I did check Tesla's website. It definitely doesn't say power share on the Performance Y, but it does on the YL.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And
but
Google, on Google. See what Google says.
I'm all but certain it will work. But we'll know by next episode for
So
sure.
let me know when you guarantee it, and I'll get one then.
Yeah, 100%.
Or I've got this ultra rare.
Yeah.
It'll only for merely 10 Tesla shares. You know. Now
But
not
I'd have to use
Telstra,
it.
not Telstra shares. Tesla
Yeah.
Tesla shares.
I'd only use it at a caravan park or something, or a site where I could have a little lead, a lead that comes off it, then plug the appliance into that smaller lead.
I mean, all jokes aside, I've got a Ryobi 18-volt battery-powered tire inflator that I take on road trips, and I usually bring the big battery, the bigger battery. Now, I do actually bring the 240-volt charger for it, which is one of the really small, compact ones. It's not much small, not much. It's actually smaller than the battery, and the batteries are sort of clips together, and it's really compact. And it's got like a little plug top thing, whatever you call it, adapter that you plug into the power point. Now, I take it with me, not because I want to charge it by the side of the road, because I know I always keep the battery full. But if I have a thing where I have a tire slug that I put in on the side of the road and that either squirms out, or I've got to keep filling the tire or whatever, eventually that battery will get pretty low. But I know that by the end of the evening, I'll be in a hotel and I'll have, or even before then, I'll be charging somewhere and I'll have access to 240 volts.
Yeah.
But what's really good now is with this power adapter, I could refill that battery by the side of the road with my car. So no, it's really cool. And, rather than having the, getting 2-minute noodles and it taking 10 minutes to boil the water in a cup that's inside while you're moving, I could just get a cheap Kmart kettle for $15 or something, or $10, and boil a cup of water in 2 minutes. Stuff like that.
So even with that part, without your mod on it, it'll still work.
Of course, no, it's just literally the plug is upside down as opposed to the right side up. It
doesn't look very good. Yeah.
No, and like I said, if you've got an ordinary plug whose cable comes out the back of the plug at a perpendicular to the plug, like, or in line with the plug, where you can't tell the difference because it just doesn't. It's only on these asymmetric, right-angled. What do you call it? They're right-angled plugs, so that the cord comes out at a right angle to the plug, or at a 45-degree angle, or whatever. That you can notice it. That's the only thing.
Okay, so it's worth getting for our Berlin performance.
Yeah, but don't get it until next week.
Yeah.
Or give me a buzz if you've got my number.
I'll just wait next week. It's no
just
rush.
wait till next week.
Yep.
What's the maximum do you reckon it'd surge to? Could you put like an air compressor, like a proper shed version of one on it?
I think it does that. A mate of mine, Jason, in Denmark, he ran his whole shed, and it actually gives you a power level on your app, so it'll tell you how much you're drawing. Actually, he ran his whole house because his house is single phase. It's got the 15 amp inlet, which is a male inlet that he plugged into the thing, or via extension cable. And he had to be careful. He was trying his induction cooktop, proper 4-burner in his kitchen, and that worked okay. But he couldn't use that and a toaster and whatever. You're going to go over what's the name. And I think I think it'll surge briefly. It might do 4 kilowatts for a sizable fraction of a second or something like a surge thing, but it's not invincible, but it is still pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Mike and then Russell, and then we've got to go.
Two quickies. Obviously, you can get air inflators that are direct to 40 volts, which you could choose if you wish to. The other thing is, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but Tesla had real stock this last week or so in WA. So I checked earlier, and we're down to 3 Model Ys. There were a lot more a few days ago. And there's still a heap of Model 3s for those who don't need the boot and the larger car thing. And there's a whole suite of them there. I don't know if you can flick it up, Harold, if people are interested online, but there is stock. Well, as I say, the Ys are rapidly disappearing again because people seem to like them for some random reason. He said, being a Model 3 owner.
It's not random, Mike. I dare say, with the very few exceptions, if you're of a certain age, it's so much more comfortable to get in and out of a Model Y, no matter who you are. But I do get that some people insist on, well, they like the sportier appearance of the Model 3.
No, I definitely agree. So yes, I think there's only 3. Oh, I've turned it off now, but there was only 3 Model Ys at the relatively high end, I think, possibly from memory. But there's a whole suite of Model 3s in there, from the top of the range to the bottom of the range. So I keep eyeing up that long range one again.
Yeah, so just as a quick ready reckoner, we've got another couple of ships, I think, coming in. One's the 27th of July, which is kind of in the past, so maybe that's already just landed. And that's got 342 YLs, 149 Ys, and 185 3s. So you can see Model YLs are just smashing it at the moment. And then there's another ship which is slightly different ratio coming in towards the end of August into Freo, and that's 52 YLs and 189 standard Ys. So total in the last few months throughout Australia and Japan and Thailand, you can see Model YLs at the moment are roughly half of Tesla's sales, just that one model.
Wow.
And then you've got, so let's call it 50% is YL, 35% Ys, and 13% 3s. At least by this measure. It does not include performance-wise coming from Germany, because this tracker doesn't track that company. So and actually, speaking of reports, just the one last one, if you can just indulge me for 2 seconds, but it's actually really important, is the Tesla Supercharger voting tally. And for anyone who has not voted for a supercharger location, or should I say voted for the candidates, please do. And I'll just bring it up momentarily. Okay, so Baladonia, thankfully, is well out in front. Just got to flick it over to this side. This is as of 9 a.m. this morning. So Baladonia's got 739 votes. Next is Ceduna at 637, followed by Norseman at 511, followed by Jurien Bay and everyone else. And even on the APAC leaderboard, which I think you need to be the top 4 or 5 locations in the region, Baladonia is second. Like I said, and it's getting roughly 10% of the votes, which is very healthy. So please do vote if you haven't already. Unfortunately, you can only place 1 vote per location. Please don't just vote the 5 votes for the first 5 locations, because that does nothing. It just, you want to have Baladonia well out in front, because as we know, if Baladonia is successful, Tesla will then be on their way to starting to do the Nullarbor, and that's important if you believe that a route going across Australia is a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Russell, you can round us out with a question or comment.
So waevnetwork.topper.cloud. I've been having a good look at it. It looks fantastic. Can I make 2 suggestions? First,
Yes.
there's something they actually brought up back when we first had the initial stuff with Synergy around like measuring statistics and stuff like that. It'd be fantastic to see like wait time. So if you could put a metric there to say how long the duration of the charge was, and then if the other one starts within 5 minutes, that person's waited, then you know this like number of minutes, like I guess waiting for a charge or consecutive waiters or something like that. I don't quite, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I do understand. The thing I've learned over the last 48 hours or 72 hours, whatever it is you know how with FSD, Elon Musk talks about the March of Nines for reliability and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
What this dashboard is trying to extract is a lot out of almost no data. The only data it gets is every minute it gets the power level of the charger of each nozzle and the state of charge of the car, and it gets whether the whole station was available, not available, whatever. Out of that, it's trying to kind of use big data to infer things like the size of the car, battery, and other things. There's no way of knowing how long the next car that charged was waiting because there's no metric of that whatsoever.
It's not about how long they're waiting for. It's what I'm saying is if one car started at 7 o'clock, charged for a half hour, finished at 7:30, and another car started charging at 7:32, they've been waiting because there's no way that they would have rocked up right on time. So if there was like less than 5 minutes between 2 charging sessions, then you essentially can then rank that as a high, medium, low sort of wait time.
Yeah,
So
you'd put in, are all the charging stations full at the changeover point? Because if they're all full, then it's likely they're going to be waiting as well. As you said, Russ, if they're all full, one goes offline, somebody charges almost straight away, you know they were probably waiting.
Yeah. So we know that we could then say at that time it's likely that there was a waiting period, but whether it was the entire duration of the previous charging session or the guy literally turned up 30 seconds before the guy unplugged.
I mean, that's irrelevant in my mind. What it's trying to show is that there's a need for more charging at that spot. So if you look at Kings Park, for example, I was looking at that Kings Park one. Firstly, like every I don't know, 3 out of 4 people are charging to 99%, which is what they do anyway. But also, when you add on the duration of the charge to the time they started, they're also charging within 5 minutes to each other, which means they've been sitting there waiting to go to someone to move.
Yeah, and the big distortion factor there, Russell, is the fact that ChargeFox has entered into arrangements with a lot of the legacy car makers, whereby people that buy these legacy cars, these EVs from the legacy car makers get free unlimited access to the ChargeFox network for a period of time, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4 years. And unfortunately, humans are, again, really dumb. And people will sit at a location thinking that if they sat there for an hour getting $5 worth of value, that's a good deal for them. So people will sit and look, I own my own fast DC charger and I see people turn up at 75% and charge to 100% and spend an hour and a quarter there. And I'm going, I would have left at 60% and gone to the next place, but that's just some human nature. But getting back to your thing, all you could infer is it was busy. You can't infer anything about how busy it was because, but what this site, and like I said, this site only started as a thought experiment on Sunday afternoon. Look, by the end of the week or the end of next week, it'll be a lot better. And I'm going to do a lot of work in trying to infer. One of the biggest challenges is the tritium's easy. if a Tritium puts out 3 kilowatts and it's supposed to put out 50, you know that's bad. If the Tritium puts out 30 kilowatts, you generally know that's bad. Not many cars only pull 30 kilowatts. Maybe one of those e-motorbikes might. On the Kempowers, it's challenging because a Kempower's got a nameplate capacity of 150 kilowatts, which if you've got an 800 volt battery pack, you can absorb. But Tesla's, even the YL, which I dare say has probably got Tesla's highest voltage, highest capacity modern battery pack, I think I saw my car go up to 124 kilowatts maximum, because that's 300 amps at the battery pack voltage, because the Kempowers have been limited to 300 amp output on their connectors. So the problem is, if a car gets 75 kilowatts, that could be a BYD Atto 1, and it just doesn't charge very hard. That's not Kempower's fault. But at the moment, my classifier can indicate that could be slightly underpowered. So the challenge is, and that's why I get it to measure the capacity of the car, because if it's got a capacity of 20 kilowatt hours, you know it's a plug-in hybrid, and its charge rate is unimportant because it's not reflective of what the charger can do. So
there's a car in here that's done 94% say a charge at 100 kilowatts still.
Yeah, they are yes, they are some of the BYD C-Line 7s or something.
Okay.
And the Zeekas as well. I've seen on my charger stuff do well in excess of 50 kilowatts at 98%. They charge like champions. The rubber will hit the road when those cars have done 50 or 100,000 Ks, and we'll see how good their battery packs are then. Because
is it a total usable capacity versus total capacity situation, or
no, I think they just punish their battery packs.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's just what they do.
Can't sell because they're from China, so it's not going to matter anyway, is it? So whatever.
Well, they're just prepared to. I mean, we just don't have the statistics, you know. Who knows whether maybe they've got slightly better chemistry. Don't know, slightly better cooling. But yeah, they do charge impressively, Russell. I've seen it 98% at 50 kilowatts. It is impressive what those cars can do. All right, on that note, what is going to be impressive, if I can find him, what's happened to Pete? Is Pete there? Oh, there he is. Sorry.
He's just woken up.
I was behind the curve and Pete was far too ahead of the curve. He was sort of camouflaged, but anyway. Pete, how would you round out an awesome show like this as if I didn't already know?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
And the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join Tokwa, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy and abundance. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and I really do look forward to joining you on next week's episode of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
You guys.
Yes.